Are you ready to take your message, your business, and your life to the next level?
Want to learn from someone with more than a decade of experience, training tens of thousands of people from all around the world?
Hi, Cliff. This is Pauline from Auckland, New Zealand.
John from Calgary, Alberta.
Amy Porterfield.
Michael Hyatt.
Dan here from Dunedin, New Zealand.
Ray Edwards.
Mark Mason.
Mike Stelzner.
Pat from Smart Passive Income.
It's Darren from Melbourne, Australia.
Now is the time to live the life of your dreams and do the work you feel most called to do in the world.
Welcome to the Cliff Ravenscraft Show.
Here's your host, Cliff Ravenscraft.
That's right, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. And as you might be able to notice, the audio quality is a little different in this episode, and it's not going to get any better in just a moment. But I am excited to bring to you a special episode recorded here in San Diego, California. I was not intending to record any content while I was here, which is why I didn't bring any gear with me, but I just simply used an app on my phone. I'm using the Griffin iTalk application to record this introduction to what you're about ready to hear, and I also used the Griffin iTalk application to record the conversation that I'm about ready to share with you while I was at Chipotle with my great friend Mark Mason. Now, what you're about ready to hear, I was only going to record for the audio journal, but then we got to talking about this topic of what am I doing here? I'll kind of tease that for you. First, we talk a little bit about how the talk went here that I did, the workshop, and we talked about a dinner that we had together, which leads us into this topic of what qualifies me to be in the room with these people or to be invited to be a part of this community of people. And I felt like this conversation would benefit a lot of people to understand how people get drawn into other people's inner circles and invited to the party, if you will. So I hope that you enjoy this episode in spite of the extremely awful audio quality. But I do think that the content is valuable if you can stick it through. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. And here is my conversation with Mark Mason. All right, what's up, everybody? Cliff Ravenscraft here, and I have a special guest for the audio journal today. My great friend, mastermind, member of the Green Room, Mark Mason, a.k.a. my boyfriend.
Yeah, that rumor is, well, it's true, I guess. I can confirm it, yes.
So we are sitting here at Chipotle in downtown San Diego. This is like an annual thing for us. We've done this every year this is our 7th year having lunch at Chipotle in San Diego.
But you didn't make me walk this time for the first time ever. We didn't walk the 17 miles. I guess you guys all know Cliff walks a lot. I don't. So usually I have to work for my food, but not today.
No, we took the Lime scooters. They have electric scooters everywhere in San Diego, and they're actually a ton of fun.
It was a lot of fun. We talked all the way. We did not run over any small children, although there were a couple of close calls.
Well, there was a couple of larger children that we did run over, but I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, that's taken over. I would say scooters and bikes have taken over downtown San Diego.
Yeah, and it's very convenient, and I love it.
So
it's fun.
So how's your? So I was at your talk.
Yeah.
So tell me, how'd your talk go?
I am very pleased with how it went down. I was, as you know, I did that podcast episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show saying, I wonder how many people are going to come to social media marketing world. I mean, these are corporate marketing people, and, these are people, they're here to learn how to optimize their sales marketing.
What was your title? I can't remember the exact title.
The exact title was How to Develop a Mindset to Achieve Any Goal.
Right.
And that is like literally, if you could imagine like a color-coded, just like a color-coded aura of topics. All of the other topics at social media marketing world would all have this color scheme of like, they're very similar. Right. It's all social media, it's all technical, it's all here's strategies and approaches and other stuff. and then there's just this one topic. There's this one
And then there's
session,
Cliff, yeah.
And then it's mindset.
It's like, did you watch Sesame Street when you were a kid?
Yes.
It's like one of these things is not like the other.
That's
One of these things just doesn't belong. I could sing it for you, but maybe I shouldn't do that.
Please do, Mark.
Since we're recording. No, I'm not going to do that.
All right. So I was like, is anybody going to come to that? It's not the question of is this valuable.
Right.
I didn't question whether or not what I had to share would be valuable to anybody who decided to invest 90 minutes of their life in my session.
That's what I was going to say. This wasn't some short little 30-minute session. I mean, this was a 90-minute short course, right?
Yeah, it was a workshop.
Yeah. And there were hundreds of people there.
I think there was, if I had to guess, there was somewhere between 100 to 200 people.
Okay, yeah.
Would you say that's accurate? You were in the room?
Yeah, I would say I was in the front because I'm a fanboy, so I was in front. But I think at least 200 would have been my guess. So
okay.
maybe,
Anyway, so the one...
And they stayed until the end.
Nobody left, which is awesome.
Right.
So the cool thing is that before the talk, I went and worked the room, because that's kind of what I do these days.
I learned that from you.
And I love to go up and talk to people, and this specifically, each person that I went up and talked to, I said, I'd like to ask you a question. First of all, thank you so much for choosing to attend my session. If you don't mind, I'd like to know, why did you choose this workshop compared to all of the other ones that are going on at this time?
Right, all the other completely different ones on sales, copy, and all kinds of different stuff, right?
And every single person said it was the word mindset in the title that drew them, and then they actually read the description that I wrote for the summary of what I was going to talk about. It's like, do you find that there always seems to be a gap between what you say you're going to do and what you actually do? Blah, 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 blah. Well, I can tell you why that is and help you understand how to develop a mindset that will get you to achieve the things that you not only want to do, but turn them into something that you must do, that you can't not do.
So you want the hot marketing tip / explanation behind that? So when this is a thing that all of your listeners should do when they're developing products, they should talk to their potential clients, the people that they intend to sell to, their target market, just as you do. You do this unconsciously, and listen to the language that they use, the exact language, and put that language in their sales copy. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about. And a lot of times what I see, people make the mistake of using the language, the more formal, or the language that's in their head and not the language that's in their absolutely perfect client's head. And I think that's why you hit it. One of the reasons you hit it so well on that description.
Thank you. Yeah, because one of the things I do, I ask clients that sign up for my products and services, I do pre-workshop questionnaires, pre-conference questionnaires, pre-mentoring call questionnaires, applications for mastermind groups, and I say, what is the single greatest frustration you're currently facing when it comes to, and then whatever it is that they've hired me for. And that language in that thing was exactly, I can't begin to tell you the number. There always seems to be a gap between what I say I'm going to do and what I do. Right. That's not necessarily me. I mean, I'm not that guy. I mean, I'm not saying trust me, I have my own struggles. I have a lot of them. But I don't always struggle with that because I'm a very self-motivated.
You get stuff done. You write the stuff on the whiteboard, the magical whiteboard, and it happens.
Yeah, right? And so the value of asking that question and knowing that for a lot of people, they do struggle with that. There's a gap between what they say they're going to do and what they actually do. It's because I've heard that so many times that I was able to know to use that in that description.
So you got some results out of this. I saw people scrambling mad notes, and you said for the rest of the week, people have been coming up to you and telling you how impactful this one little 90-minute session was, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. So I love the number. I mean, I probably stood outside the session for about an hour after the session with people coming up, waiting to talk to me about how it impacted them.
I gave up on you. I left.
So yesterday, after the keynote, I went through the networking plaza, and I was just walking, and random people would come up and say, hey, I attended your session yesterday, and I didn't stay afterwards to talk to you, but I just want to tell you how it impacted me. And just like, there are people from all over the world, just who were telling me how it. 3 different people had tears in their eyes when they told me the breakthroughs that they had. And I have a picture, Mark, I'll have to show you. I took a picture with this family. It literally, the session completely transformed like their entire family that was there.
That's awesome.
So he said, I'm a pastor and I have a congregation of about 60 people in my congregation. I also do some business stuff on the side. So I've got this business stuff that I do, but I don't ever create content on Facebook. I have people that from my church who are following me on Facebook. I have people who I've done business with who follow me on Facebook, and I'm scared to death to create anything because I'm scared if I go and talk about business stuff, then my Christian audience is going to judge me for, it's all about the money, blah, 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 and there's all kinds of those beliefs. And then I'm afraid that if I talk about my faith, all these business people are going to be like, well, I'm not following you to preach to me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and I sit there and he said that he told me how much what I shared yesterday already helped him with some breakthroughs because he goes, I didn't realize that I had all of these different conditioned beliefs that were there.
Right, where are those beliefs coming from, right?
Yes.
I mean, he's made those decisions, as you say, based on beliefs, whether he knows he has them or not.
I mean, those are the kinds of conversations that I'm having at social media marketing world.
Yeah, I think it's because the things that you are talking about are universal.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We could be at a car mechanics conference and it would be the same thing.
Yep.
Although I don't really want to go to a car mechanics conference, so please don't ask me to. But if we were, you could give the same talk and find people to help, I think.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what have you seen here that you'll take away that besides what has happened to you personally? Have you seen any other talks or gotten any data or something that impacted you? Or
well, to be honest, I feel bad because I haven't sat on many other talks. Ray had a workshop right before mine, so I sat in on the first 20 minutes of his, but then I ducked out to go prepare for mine. And then after my workshop, I stayed and talked to everybody. And then after that, I went back to the hotel to get ready for dinner that I hosted at Seasons 52.
That was the best dinner ever. Thank you so much. So I guess you published that picture to social media.
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
But Dan Miller was there, Chris Brogan was there, Daryl Darnell was there with his son. That was the highlight of my whole trip. Was sitting there, Colby or Cody? Colby. I was sitting there talking to Colby, this 14-year-old high school freshman who's attending social media marketing world.
Yes.
I was telling him, 14-year-old Colby, that if I had known, I mean, he sat in your session too, right? If I had known what he knows now at 14, I would have taken over the whole world by now.
No doubt.
It's amazing. So yeah, that was a really great dinner. Leslie Samuel was there.
Yeah. Ray Edwards
was there. So it was a big table. Seasons 52. Isabella Russell. Yes.
Oh yeah. Kathleen Titus was there.
Yep.
Several people from Free the Dream were there. Matter of fact, Mark, I want to tell you. I think bring this up. So, as a topic of conversation, I may include this. I may take the audio of this and put it in the Cliff Ravenscraft show.
I think you're allowed to edit however you want because it's your audio.
Yeah,
I release you. I give you permission.
Do you give me permission to use your voice in my show?
This after you talk to my attorney. Yes, okay. It should be fine.
Awesome. I'll send you over a written agreement. So, Mark, there were two people who came to me. Two people that I invited to the dinner that I hosted. As you know, I brought my inner circle into a private room at Seasons 52 restaurant, and I wanted to have a gathering of the people that I feel are the biggest supporters of what it is that I'm doing in the world right now. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Totally.
And so I just wanted to create it, and just a way to say thank you to them for believing in me, for supporting me, and just valuing what I do and who I am. And so that's what I wanted to do, and I knew that there would be a group of those people here, some people from mastermind groups that I host and stuff like that, but there were two people who came to Free the Dream, all right? And both of them individually came to me and thanked me afterwards. One of them thanked me at the party last night that Social Media Examiner held, and the other one woke up this morning to an email from him. So completely separately, but both of them said, Cliff, wow, last night was absolutely amazing. I can't even begin to tell you how much that meant to me that you invited me to be in that group with those people. And I got to tell you, I sat there last night asking myself, what am I doing in this room? Both of them said that to me.
Really? Independently?
Yes. Independently.
Wow.
Both of them said, it's like, how did I get here? What am I doing here?
Right.
In what way am I qualified to be in this room with these people?
Wow.
And I wanted to address that as a topic because, quite frankly, I've asked myself that question a number of times.
Yeah.
And I think the first time, I think maybe the first time that this came up for me was when I made it a goal to meet Dan Miller, my hero who radically transformed the way that I think about work after reading his book, 48 Days to the Work You Love. And I put out in a podcast episode, hey, it's my goal to meet Dan Miller and Leo Laporte. I don't have sports figures that I look up to. I don't look up to Hollywood celebrities. But if I would be starstruck if I was in the presence of a Leo Laporte or Dan Miller, and it is my goal in life one day to meet these guys face to face and have a conversation with them. But very specifically, I'm going to tell you about my dream. My dream isn't just to meet these guys face to face and tell them how much of an impact they've had, because I know that I can go to a conference, see them talk, and stand in line with everyone else who was going to say the exact same words.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, they may or may not be remembered. I want to have an opportunity to connect with Leo Laporte and Dan Miller and just to tell them how much they've transformed my life, but also to tell them a few stories about what I've been able to accomplish that I would have never done had I not been in podcasting or left my career and do what I feel most called to do in the world. And then all of a sudden, Andy Traub says, hey, I know Dan Miller, I would love to connect you. And then I interviewed Dan on my podcast, and he asked me, hey, can I get a consulting call with you? I'd like to ask you some questions about improving my show. And then I tell him the truth about how his show sounded, because he was using a $20 lapel microphone. I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 3 on your audio quality.
I remember this very well.
And so here's the deal. He says, Cliff, what would you recommend that I do? What do you have in your studio? What do you use? How much would all of that cost? Is that something that you can order and put into a box and drive down here to Nashville this weekend? I'd love to put you up in my guest room in my house. I'll take you out to dinner and take you to a show here in Nashville, and we'll spend all day the next day. You can actually set up a studio for me. Can you do that? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, yep. I'm packing now. Yeah.
And Mark, I'm not kidding you. I'm sitting there at dinner with Dan Miller. And then I'm at this amazing show in Nashville called The Token Show by Dr. Lee Camp, which is like a Christian version of Garrison Keillor's Home Prairie Companion.
Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah, that one.
Lake Wobegon.
Exactly. But this it's amazing. And I learned the backstory that this show called Tokens would not exist had it not been for Dan Miller speaking into Dr. Lee Camp's life. And as a result, by the way, just a little side note, foreshadowing, on the way home back to Dan's place, I was telling Dan, do you know this would make a great podcast? He could turn this into a podcast. He doesn't have to do the whole show. He could just do segments of the show and put it out as a podcast. It'd be a great promotion for the show. Fast forward 2 years later, guess who's one of my podcasting A to Z students?
Oh, no way. I did not know that.
Lee
Okay,
Camp.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Wow.
Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm literally, getting ready to lay down to go to sleep in the guest room of Dan Miller's home 3 weeks after I stated to the world that it's my goal to meet Dan Miller.
It's just crazy.
In more of a capacity than just standing in line after a talk.
Yeah, totally crazy, cosmic something.
And here's what I will tell you. The exact phrase, what am I doing here? What qualifies me to be laying in the bedroom of the guest room of the home of, who am I to be here?
Right. Yep.
And then you fast forward to, a couple, like, let's just say 7 or 8 months later, it's like, hey, Cliff, have you ever heard of Michael Hyatt? It's like, all the time. I hear you talk about him nonstop. He's got one of the most popular business blogs on the planet. Yeah, he was over here the other day, and he asked me, what's the number one thing that's moved the needle in my business forward more than anything else? And I told him, nothing more than a podcast. He goes, really? Seriously, a podcast? He goes, absolutely, you have to have one. And he says, well, I'm going to do that. And he says, where do you recommend I get started? And he says, don't even research it. Just, you need to talk to Cliff Ravenscraft. I'll connect you. And then 1 week after that, I'm literally in the home office of Michael Hyatt.
It's just nuts.
And again, I'm asking myself, why am I here? Why am I in this room? And then Michael Hyatt, it's like, you fast forward a little bit further, maybe 9-10 months later, I put out another episode of my podcast. It's time to tell the world about my goals again. Hey guys, it's 2011, and I'm going to tell you about my 12 goals for 2012. And 2 of those goals were, I want to become a paid public speaker, and I want to become a keynote speaker. And at the time, I had really no experience in speaking other than just a couple free conferences, and I was terrible. I really was terrible.
You've come a long way. Let's put it that way.
So, but I put that out there, and within a week of telling the world that I have a desire to become a paid public speaker, Michael Hyatt says, hey Cliff, I was listening to your show. I've got the book Platform. It's, by the way, New York Times best-selling book. I'm creating a conference around it, and I would like to actually pay you to come speak at my event.
How long did it take you to say yes to that?
It was instant. So, and then I'm sitting there in this conference with Stu McLaren, Ray Edwards. Ray was actually a participant at that one. He wasn't. So it was Stu McLaren, Amy Porterfield. What's the barefoot executive? Carrie Wilkerson?
Yes.
Carrie Wilkerson, Ken Davis. It's like, and I'm sitting there on stage with these people.
Ken Davis, who changed your life.
Yes.
In way bigger ways than even this, right?
Yes.
That's amazing.
So I share all of this stuff to say that there have been so many times where I've asked myself, and also you think about the fact that, Pat Flynn calls me up, he's a blogger that's starting to see some success, and he's like, Cliff, I've been trying to do a podcast for so long, and I haven't been able to get myself to do it. Can you say something to me? Is there something you can do to get me to move forward on a podcast? And I was like, here's what you need to know. And we started talking, and it's like, let's get in a mastermind group together. And then all of a sudden, you look at the green room that we have, right?
Right. And I felt the same way when you and Pat called me and wanted me to join your mastermind. I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you sure you dialed the right number?
So the funny thing is that here these 2 individuals are last night, or 2 nights ago, who are sitting there at Seasons 52 in this inner circle that I've brought together, and they're asking themselves, why am I here? What qualifies me to be here? And I say all of that to say that I've asked myself that question a number of times. Mark, you just said that you've asked yourself that question when it's in the green room. And I'd like to discuss for just a moment, what does qualify someone to be in an inner circle like that? I have some thoughts, but I want to see if you have anything off the top of your head before I influence the conversation further.
My immediate reaction to that question is 2 things come to my mind. One is, most of the time when I see people that find themselves in those situations, they are almost always the kind of people, even if they're not actually in that posture at the moment, they're the kind of people that are always in a service first posture. They're the kind of people that give and want to help other people, right? They're adding to the universe. Those good things seem to happen. I hear about those stories from people who are attracting that sort of people to them. And I don't mean attracting like law of attraction.
Yes.
I mean, those are the kinds of people that they choose to surround themselves with, and those are the kind of people that they choose to be. That's the one thing. And then the second thing that jumps to my mind is, in addition to that service first posture, the people that I see that happening to tend to be humble and authentic. So they're not posing, they don't have an agenda, they've been included because people understand that they don't have an ulterior motive. They're not trying too hard to be in there. Those are the two things that just jump into my mind.
I love those, and I totally agree 100%. The first one you said is absolutely. I can tell you, obviously, I identify with somebody who has a sincere desire to always reach out and serve and help others, and I know that there's a reputation that comes along that precedes you when you have that as your mentality and lifestyle. And so the interesting thing that I didn't say prior to this in the conversation and the story, before I ever met Dan Miller, the interesting thing is Dan Miller had already known who I was and wanted to meet me for months prior. He had just never thought to actually take action on it.
Busy guy.
So I learned that afterwards.
I never heard you say that before. That's it.
So and to add to the story, I also met Leo Laporte in November 2011, and I remember actually while I was there having just interviewed him for my podcast, live broadcasting on his network out to thousands of people just before a This Week in Tech podcast.
Yes.
I remember putting a Facebook post. It's like, I just realized that every dream I've ever set for myself has now come true. I think I need some new dreams. I need some new dreams now. But what happened was I went to go meet Leo Laporte, and I remember, oh my God, there is video. Anna Sophie was with me there, and she took video of me on this tour as I was rounding the corner to go into Leo's office to meet him for the first time. I will never show it to anyone because I look ridiculous. I look like a little 12-year-old girl meeting Zac Efron. I mean, I'm just telling you, I'm embarrassed how I look.
It's awesome, though.
So I go in and I go, oh my God. He goes, I go, Leo Laporte. He goes, Cliff Ravenscraft. And I'm like, you know who I am? He goes, podcast answer me. Dude, everybody knows who you are.
Wow.
And I'm like, what do you mean? I had no idea. He goes, Cliff, I talk about you on my radio show all the time. I've sent everybody I know that asked me about podcasting to the podcast answer. He goes, I'm honored to meet you. It's like,
wow.
It's like, oh my God. But that's what I say is that so your desire and your heart to always serve and give. And give without expecting anything in return. That reputation precedes you, and that is a quality that is attractive to people. Yes. So exactly what you said. I do agree that humbleness and authenticity is there as well. There's something else that I can say. I do not like the phrase "pay to play." But there's something about those two individuals that there is some sort of connection in that they invested. It's like, why are they there? And there was really something about why those two individuals were there. Because when I was thinking, who do I want to invite to this private inner circle dinner? I'm like, hey, I put a post in Free the Dream Family on Facebook. And I asked inside of Free the Dream Family on Facebook, who here from Free the Dream is going to be in San Diego at Social Media Marketing World? And Brian Bellamy says, I'm going to be there. And I'm pretty sure that Michael Cleveland's going to be there as well. Dan Miller popped in and says, I'll be there.
Mark Mason replied.
Mark Mason applied. And specifically, when I designed that dinner, I'm like, who from Free the Dream is going to be here? Because I want to make sure to invite them to this.
Yeah. And I think I heard, and I'm trying to remember who said this. I heard this weekend, and if I can attribute it later, I'll let you know. But they talked about this very same thing, and maybe it was Amanda Bond who said, whoever said this said she also didn't like pay to play. that the preferred phrase should probably be invest for success.
I love that.
People who invest for success, that's an attractive behavior. And if they've made that investment in there's something about that relationship that draws you to that person.
Exactly, and it's not like, oh my gosh, I only want to be your friend if you pay me money.
Or you don't feel like you owed them or anything, right?
Yeah.
It was that you wanted to spend time with them because they're on your page.
Yeah, it's like they were attracted to my message. They were attracted to a product or service that I felt led to create. They invested in that, which gave such a boost of confirmation and confidence to the direction that I'm heading. So I'm thankful for that. And even more specifically that, and for those two individuals, why am I here? It's because you have been a part of my community. You resonate with my message. You're a consistent source of encouragement. You've invested at a significant level in a product or service that I created, and even more importantly than that, and on top of that, is you took the message that came from that product or service, aka Free to Dream, and you've been applying it.
Yeah.
You've been a living representation of what I'm doing in the world, and that's why you're qualified to be in this room just like anyone else that's here.
Yeah, and I will say the other thing is, the fourth reason maybe that we could articulate in this particular case, those two guys are awesome.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. And the thing is it's important to understand that we all have inherent value, and it's not that we have to earn.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
I haven't talked to Michael Hyatt or Dan Miller or the number of other people or even you, Mark. I mean, you've invested a ton in me. You know, seriously, you always have been there.
Well, you're my boyfriend.
Of course. So that's a story that we need to actually probably, since there are some people that may not be in on the joke.
In on the inside joke.
Yeah.
Stephanie Ravenscraft and Paula Mason are both in on the inside joke.
Yeah, that's the most important thing anyway.
Yeah.
But what was I saying?
I derailed you. Sorry.
That's all right.
You may have to you may have to edit.
No,
you may
I'm
not be able to go direct to drive.
No, I'm not going to edit. But I think the thing is that I haven't talked to people and say, listen, what was it that gave me? Why me? Why have you allowed me into your inner circle? I mean, there are people out there who, quite frankly, would pay thousands of dollars to spend an hour with you, and I feel like I have a relationship with you in such that if I wanted to, at any moment in time, I could ask, hey, if I'm going to be in town, can I stop by and spend a couple hours with you? You would drop everything.
I would. I have.
To do it.
We did that.
I know. And,
yeah.
And Dan Miller has done that. Michael Hyatt has done that.
Yeah.
But I've never asked them, why me and not others? And it's like,
I think it's value. I think it's you do that for people that you value, independent for a moment of why you value the person. You personally value someone, you're willing to do that.
To wrap up this episode, and I do feel like this is going to be an episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show in all of its audio quality glory.
Maybe we should send this thing to Mike Russell and see if he can fix it.
No, when you hear it, you'll be shocked at how good this is.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, seriously.
I'm very nervous.
We've been talking louder than we need to actually talk.
Yeah, people have been looking at us too.
That's fine. Hey, everybody. How you guys doing? Anybody want to chat? So anyway, to wrap up, I kind of want to give some help to people who want to learn, how do you become valuable? How do you get to the place where people want to bring you into their inner circle?
You know, there are two things when I coach people with this in the corporate world. And the very first thing, ground zero, number one, is be curious about other people. ask questions, listen to what the people have to say, and stop talking about yourself for a minute.
Yes.
Right now, and oftentimes, especially when I'm counseling young engineers about how to move forward in their career, we'll have that discussion. Look, you need to listen, and you need to be curious and ask questions, and actually listen to what people have to say. Stop trying to figure out what you're going to say next. Instead of doing that, listen to what people have to say, and when you're listening, try to imagine what ways you can be helpful to that person. That's kind of a 5-step thing that I give new engineers, and that's I think that forms a basis for a lot of things, including a business. You think about it, you go to a client meeting, you stop talking about yourself and your products, you talk about the customer and what's going on in their business and what their challenges are, and you listen, and then you try to understand how you might be able to help them. That's the formula for an entire business. Cliff, that's the formula for your business.
Yes.
Right? That's where your products come from.
And I love that because, there are some people who I know that have been in my community. And I'll just say it because I'm authentic and transparent. There are some people that have bought products and services from me in the past that have invested in stuff like that quite frankly, I wouldn't invite to a dinner like I invited.
They don't attract you in the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're not valuable, because I don't want to state that, but I can tell you that, and it's funny, I love what you're talking about there, because there's some of those people that come up and they want to monopolize your attention. And it's all about, hey, what can I get from you? What can I extract from you? Let me tell you all about me and why I'm important and why I think I would be a valuable asset to everything that you do moving forward. And you know what I'm saying? It's like it is all about them.
Yeah.
And what I find is that when people have shown an interest, like, Cliff, tell me more about just what's going on in your world and how can I help you? Or I know somebody that I can connect you with. Would you like me to make this connection?
Right, which is your specialty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And just a side tip, if you don't think you can do that, let me tell you, the world is an amazing place. People are doing stuff and working on stuff and achieving things and working through things. You cannot impossibly imagine how interesting other people are if you'll just take a darn minute to ask them ask them what's going on in their life and just what's happening.
Yeah.
Right? And it's amazing. People are so disarmed by that because guess what? People don't do that.
It's not normal.
It's not normal. So you can get a lot of leverage over the world just by getting in a sort of serve first posture and being curious about what's going on in other people's life.
Yep. So that is the key. I think you can extrapolate a lot from our conversation about why certain people will make it into a certain inner circle just by listening to this conversation. And I encourage more people to go out there and fulfill their dreams and have desires of who do you want to meet, who do you want to get to know, and be a person that seeks to serve others and let your reputation for that speak for you. And know that you don't need to actually be out there telling everybody. You don't need to be spreading that reputation, the word yourself about how much you do for others.
And let me ask you a pointed question because I know what people are going to say.
Yeah.
I can't be serving people all the time. I got to make money. Let me ask you a question, Cliff. Do you feel like you're able to serve people and make money?
I think that I'm able to make money because of my attitude of always serving others.
I completely agree. So my statement is, if you feel uncomfortable serving other people, you have a belief system problem that you need to unpack using the tools offered to you by Cliff Ravenscraft, because those go to beliefs, and if you believe that your situation doesn't permit you to be in service to others, that's because of beliefs that you don't even realize you're carrying. You need to unpack those and replace them with some better beliefs.
And where could they do that, Mark? Is there like an event where they could get away and spend a weekend and immerse themselves in a community of other people who are actively working on this and who are devoted to personal growth and development to become all that they were created to be?
Who's that guy in Kentucky? What's his name? It's free the alligator, free the dream, free the dream.
Guys, check it out, freethedreamconference.com, freethedreamconference.com, or go to freethedream.live. Either one will get you there. We would love to have you join us.
I will be there.
Yes,
I will be there.
Mark Mason, here, I'm stating it for the record so he can get this idea out of his head that I might actually uninvite him to speak. Mark Mason will be speaking at Free the Dream, talking about the need to upgrade your peer group.
But what if I'm not worthy of speaking at Free the Dream? No, it's going to be great. And if you come to Free the Dream, I want you to come up to me and tell me about what's going on in your life, because now you know I'm genuinely curious and I'd like to hear what's going on in your life, because that makes me happy. It lights me up. I love that. So come talk to me at Free the Dream.
Awesome. We'll see that you're there. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Live from San Diego.
From Chipotle in San Diego.
This has been Cliff Ravenscraft and Mark Mason, two members of the Green Room Mastermind.
Bye, guys.